The episode opens with Guillermo and his armed men marching across town toward Feed's home, appearing irate. A number of his guys have gone missing, and he wants to know what kind of town this is. Carol asked him, one man screamed at him, and now this. He senses suspicion and questions whether Solas Del Mar is still deserving of the Alliance's resources. Despite Feed's assurances that they are appreciated, Guillermo insists that he show it or else they will depart and assist other communities. Knowing that several of Guillermo's men were killed by the river where the Americans saved Justina and Roberto, Feed begins to wonder if the two incidents are connected, so he asks one of his men to find out. As for the Americans, the sooner they leave, the better. When Carol returns to Antonio's, Eduardo Noriega, house, the host informs her that although she angered many people with her candor the previous evening, he appreciated that someone had the guts to voice their opinions. Daryl and Carol converse after he departs. While the former is still becoming overly absorbed in matters that aren't about her, the latter is solely concerned with repairing the boat and leaving. Though she is relieved that Justina was not selected, she worries about Alba, Hada Nieto, the girl who was. Not Daryl, who only says, "Who the fuck is Alba?" Meanwhile, Justina is worried about Alba too, but Roberto knows there's nothing they can do. He's too busy planning how they will get out. They kiss, and as Daryl sees them, a look of pain crosses his face. We know exactly who he is thinking about. Daryl and Roberto pass armed men searching for the missing as they leave to mend the boat. Daryl pretends to be stupid, but it probably doesn't matter because Roberto acknowledges that he despises them all. They reach a lighthouse where the captain of a ship resides in the midst of nowhere. Roberto shouts that he has brought olives because a gate blocks the driveway to it. At this point, a gray-haired woman and many other individuals brandishing shotguns emerge. She is a friend of Roberto's and can be relied upon to assist because she has 30 years of expertise as a cruise liner's captain and because she despises El Alcazar. That's exactly what she'll do for 5 kg of gunpowder. That's all well and good, but when Daryl sees her approach her two guards and give them both a passionate kiss on the mouth, his mouth drops. Antonio sees that Carol's wound is still bleeding and takes her in to bandage it while she is in town, eyeing a solar panel that she may steal. We can't help but notice how uneasy Carol seems when he looks at her while he talks about his deceased wife and son, Roberto. Could romance be in the air? Alone later, Carol hears screaming coming from a building, so she arms herself with a weapon and creeps in, only to find Antonio watching an old movie on his projector setup. A small cinema has been constructed, and he asks Carol to join him. Carol is impressed that Antonio was able to build this cinema and acquire so many movies. He risked his life to get them, but it was important because this is the history to pass down to the next generation. That makes Carol smile. Roberto, Daryl, and the ship's captain visit the capsized vessel. If they're going anywhere, she informs them, they'll need a new rudder from a boat like that. Roberto is demanding that he and Justina accompany them before he will assist, even though Daryl is prepared to leave right now. The woman offers him her truck and ethanol if he will, but Daryl isn't into that. This suggestion causes him to quickly reconsider his choice. When they return to the path, they see a statue of a saint with writing on it and items left next to it. According to Roberto, people come here to pray for and leave items for their loved ones. Daryl is leaving one of Lauren's toys behind when we next see the statue. Back at her home, Alexandra Masenka wakes up in bed with Ilana, Greta Fernandez. They miss each other, but Ilana knows she has to leave before Guillermo comes looking for her. As she dresses, sees a scar on Ilana's shoulder, but she quickly dismisses it as a horse-riding accident. The two lovers hold hands, and asks her to stay. Ilana will be here for a few days and will see again, but for now, she must go. Daryl discovers a boat in the water at an abandoned shipyard that might be the one they're searching for. Something stirs beneath the shallow waves as they start beating on the rudder to get it off. Daryl shoots a bloated walker dead when it emerges, but as they flee to the shore, others show up. Roberto returns to the boat to retrieve the rudder, which has fallen into the sea, after Daryl has removed them. But the horde is getting to be too much, so he'd better move quickly. When a few more walkers emerge from the water, Roberto is on the verge of passing out, but Daryl, the badass, manages to handle them all until none remain. They also have their rudder. After cutting her finger, Justina is searching Feed's office for medical supplies when she comes upon multiple pieces of fabric bearing her name. She searches for Roberto, but he is nowhere to be found, so she sobs on Carol's shoulder, who is more than happy to listen. Alba is constantly on Justina's mind, and she and her mother will not be able to live apart. She is being crushed by the guilt of not being selected. The expression in Justina's eyes as she leaves indicates that she disagrees with Carol's statement that there is nothing she can do to change it.